Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management. Joining us, Brandon Lehman, Director of Annex Private Client, also a wealth manager and a CFP at Annex Wealth Management. Welcome.
Danny.
You work with a wide variety of clients. Many tend to be executives and business owners, and they can tend to have specialized needs. We're going to talk about 4 key discussion points and what Annex Executive program can do for these individuals. The first would be stock options, the need for a strategy for that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of situations where folks work themselves up in their career and get to a point where they're issued stock options, and not options as puts and calls, but the ability to purchase a stock at a given price at the corporation they work with. A lot of times they don't know what this means. How do you do it? What do I do? What is the strategy? So we come in and we work with these folks, help them lay out a plan, because there's always the rule of thumb, right? Exercise 2 years from expiration or things like that. But in reality, every situation is different. And we have the team and the tools to come in and say, well, this is your best option based on your tax plan, based on your earnings, based on what you've been issued. Let's do X, Y, and Z. Review and analysis year over year over year. And Annex Executive and the team we have is built to handle that every year.
And how it works with their compensation and their entire plan.
Correct. It's looking at it from a holistic. Sometimes I say that seems cliche to say holistic, but in reality it is. It's a whole picture: compensation, potential deferrals, options, outside income, so maybe investment income, maybe rental income. How does that all fit and what does it mean?
Probably leads us to our next thing to talk about: guidance for net unrealized appreciation, NUA. One-time planning opportunity, is that right?
It is. It's all about hitting certain gates. And I use air quotes, gates as we call them here, because when you hit a certain threshold, you can do this. But if you maybe withdraw at a certain time, then it negates the opportunity. So it's being real cognizant of what you have, how you have it, and how it's set up. There's a local company that we work with. There's a lot of folks that have been there a long time, and the opportunity to purchase stock in their 401k has been offered to them. Maybe they've been there 20, 30, even 40 years in some instances, and they've been purchasing stock and it's appreciated in value. So maybe they purchased it and their total money put in is $100,000, but it grew to $1 million. Well, the IRS says you can pull that out and put it into an individual or a joint or brokerage account and get specialized tax treatment on that. But you have to make sure you hit those gates. And to do it right is incredibly important. Tax ramifications, there's tax opportunities, there's multiple layers that have to be watched to make sure it's done correctly. But when it's done right, the planning opportunities are huge.
Well, here's the thing. They're busy doing their jobs, right? They might not even know how to track this, watch this. I mean, this is what the Annex Executive does.
Exactly. Working with us, it's our job, one, to understand this. And internally, we've built out basically a step-by-step flow chart for us to build it out, track it, get it in place, and execute it, and then also get the supporting documentation to your CPA to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Lots of plates are spinning. Brandon Lehman, Director of Annex Private Client, also a wealth manager, CFP with Annex, joining us to talk about Annex Executive. That's a program and how it can help business owners and executives. We've got to talk about tax planning. We're not talking about getting returns done by mid-April. This is year-round stuff.
Kind of mentioned it a little bit already, but tax planning is so critical from not just an executive standpoint, but a business owner standpoint. So yes, they're executives, but business owners, senior executives at companies, because there's so many moving parts to those compensations. When you look at flow through income from a business owner on maybe an LLC or an S Corp, or you look at stock options vesting, how do you handle that? How do you adjust? Are your quarterlies in the right spot? Something that we look at every quarter, and how you really do it, the start of all of it is a paycheck. Then you annualize paychecks, and it gets a lot more complex than that, but that's where you start, and you look at it every quarter. And that way you have very few surprises, hopefully, come the following April.
Annex Executive is a program. It helps executives when there's questions about a number of different things. Deferred comp, that's got to be one of them.
Deferred comp is probably one of the biggest questions we get. And the question is, how do I do it? How do we schedule it? How much do I do? And we walk through all of that. And the beauty of it is our planning software, then once we start to figure this out, you can layer in the deferred comp with different payment schedules and look at it and see, wow, this is going to give me an income stream for X amount of time in retirement. Maybe it covers health insurance because I retired early until 65. Maybe it covers the travel costs that we want to have. But we figure it out. ties directly into the tax plan, because how much you defer ties into taxes, which means you lower your taxes. All these opportunities are there, and it's a lot of fun. It's complex, but Annex Executive is designed to work with these folks specifically and handle all these unique opportunities that they've worked hard for.
Stock options, net unrealized appreciation, tax planning, deferred comp, business execs, business owners. Put Annex Executive team on your side. Handle those unique financial planning needs. Brandon square in the middle of it with Annex ready to roll up his sleeves for you. Brandon Lehman, Director of Annex Private Client, also a wealth manager and a CFP with Annex Wealth Management and part of the Annex Executive team. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Danny.